Hey guys, so I wanted to do a quick little booktube review on 5 Feet Apart. I don't really have a lot of time to go into this, that's why I'm gonna make it quick. I want to do like more book review videos, maybe like with my bookshelf or something as a background, but for right now I'm just gonna do it right here because, yeah, that's easiest. But, this book took me a really long time to read. It's not that long of a book, I think it's only 273 pages. I just finished it today, so I know exactly the amount of pages. But I've been reading it since February. I've been reading it since Valentine's Day. I wanted to pick up a cute little romantic book for Valentine's Day, and I read this on the train before I went to see my boyfriend. But yeah, it's not a bad book. It takes a while to get into. The main plot, like, there are like some twists, but they're not that twisty if you've ever read it. There's one twist that happens, like, kind of too late into the book, and then there's some other things that happen, like, right towards the very end that make it, like, very interesting, but even the whole, like, 5 feet apart thing, like, I should probably actually tell you guys what the book is about before I get into all of this. I'm very new to BookTube. But, it's basically about a girl named Stella with CF. She's very, like, in control of what she's doing. She likes to make to-do lists. She's very organized. And then she meets, another CFer, checks into the same hospital with her, and he has B. Sapitia, which is, like, a worse form of CF, I guess. They explain it better in the book, but I read it a very long time ago at this point, so yeah. So he has, like, those are very, like, dangerous. Like, it's very dangerous to contract B. Sapitia, and CFers can't come into contact with each other, really. They have to stay 6 feet apart at all times because they don't want to infect each other, I guess, with their viruses. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I just read this one book about it. I actually read another book about it, too. Ghosts by Raina. I forget her last name. I'll try to insert it at the bottom here. But that also has a character that has CF in it. CF is cystic fibrosis, if you guys didn't know. And that's, like, a terminal disease that there's no real cure for, but it has to do with your lung function, and there's, like, mucus in their lungs or something, and it builds up, especially when they get sick. So Stella checked into the hospital because she got sick, and she met this boy named Will, who's, like, the total opposite of her. He, like, doesn't care, doesn't want to live, and they end up falling in love. She ends up helping him, like, care more about himself, which is really sweet, and the ending of the story is just really sweet. It is a really nice, like, love story. I think they wrote the book along the same time that they wrote the movie, because this has 3 writers, which kind of makes it a little bit, like, messy, I think, because 3 writers is a lot for one book, but one of them is a screenwriter, so I have a feeling that they wrote the books at the same time as the movie. And I hear my mom here, so I've got to leave soon, so I'm gonna finish this up now, but that kind of made it a little bit messy, and I don't think that they got a good voice of Will as a teenage boy that well. They do at some points, he seems more like a teenage boy, but at other points he really doesn't, and, yeah, that's kind of the only, like, critique I have of the book, other than it's a little slow and it's a little boring, but other than that, I did really like the book, and I would recommend it. I'm gonna pass this on to a friend that I know wanted to read it too, so yeah, I'm gonna bring that to her. So yeah, I hope you guys like this booktube video. I'm gonna read You next. That's the book that the Netflix show is based off of, so I'm excited to read that and watch the series, and I'll probably watch the movie of this and maybe, like, do a review on that too. I don't know. I read the book because I wanted to see the movie, but then it took me a while to read the book, so I didn't want to see the movie yet, so, yeah. Hey guys, so it's a few hours later, and this is the second time I'm trying to film this right now. Just the end of my little, book review thing. I didn't really like Barb. That's the one nurse that was, Stella's favorite nurse, and she was, like, the really tough one that cracks down on them, and she tries to keep them apart. But I didn't like the way that she treated Will. She was basically, like, acting like everything was his fault when it was just this disease that he had, and it was this form that made it worse. And, like, she was just very, very harsh on him in particular. And it really seemed like unfair and that she was like a bad person because of that. I don't think she was really a bad person, but it just made me not like the character that much, and I was just like, wow, like, I can't root for, like, this nurse, and, like, I can't really forgive her for how she's treating this poor kid that's, like, dying, and I didn't like it, like, the way that she treated him or anything, and, you know, I could see why, like, he was so upset by her and why he drew pictures of her as, like, Godzilla and stuff. That was another thing I really liked, was the mention of, like, art in the, story, and, like, obviously Will is an artist, and he draws, and Stella's sister was also an artist, and, she has the picture of the lungs, and that was a nice little connection between Will and her sister, and I thought that that was kind of cute that they put that in there. And the fact that Stella couldn't draw, I liked that little detail too. There were a lot of, like, little details about the characters that I liked, like the fact that their favorite ice cream flavors were in the book. I thought that was nice. And what else? Kind of, like, glossed over. I'm gonna spoil some stuff right here, so I think this is the part of the video where I'm just gonna talk, like, spoilers. I'll talk about the end, I'll talk about, you know, the characters that live and die and everything, so just kind of click off this video if you don't want to be spoiled, and maybe come back to it after you've read the book, or seen the movie if you haven't seen the movie yet. But they kind of glossed over Poe's death a little bit, I thought. Yeah, like, it was really dramatic when he died, and I felt really bad, and, like, obviously, like, Stella was kind of going crazy about it and everything, but they didn't really show, like, an aftermath of that, and that was a little bit of a problem in the book, I thought. They could have, like, had a moment with Stella at, his funeral with, you know, maybe she would have gotten closer to him than she had ever been able to go when he was alive, and that could have been a dramatic thing. I don't know, it was kind of, they didn't really need to put that in there because I don't think it really added anything to the story other than, it just seemed like the way to get Stella near the ice, I guess, and have that whole moment, you know, and it was nice that there was, like, a near-death experience where she saw her sister, who had already passed away, and she was telling her, like, you have to stay here, you have to live. And I don't know, I thought that was kind of nice too, that they kind of showed that. It was just a nice way of looking at it. It wasn't, like, religious or anything, I don't think. It just, you know, in this book there is an afterlife, and they don't mention it like that, but it was just kind of cool the way that they had that, included in there. I don't know, I kind of liked that it wasn't, like, a big deal, it was just in there. And I really liked the ending, that it was just, like, they happened to meet by chance again. And, like, that was just adorable. And they both were happy because they had gotten to do things that they couldn't do before. And it was just, like, a happy ending. And I was kind of comparing this book in my head to The Fault in Our Stars, because they're similar concepts, and I feel like that's probably the book that inspired this. But I actually liked this one a little bit better because it had a more lighthearted ending, and the characters felt like their love was more genuine to me than, like, I don't know. Not that the love in A Fault in Our Stars was disingenuine, it just showed a lot of hardships of love, which is a good thing too. Whereas this kind of just showed, like, love, like, they'll be for each other, like, whatever, and that they just love each other no matter what, and they'll always, you know, even if they can't physically be there for each other, even if they can't touch, they will still always love each other. And that was a really sweet, like, genuine love story, and I really liked that about the book. So yeah, let me know what you thought about this book, and let me know, I think I told you guys my next book that I'm reading, but let me show you. I'm gonna read You by Caroline Kepnes? I don't know how to pronounce her last name, But this is the book I'm choosing next. It's a Netflix series. This is about 400 pages, so for some reason I thought that this was like a really short book, and then I looked at it and it's like 400 pages, and I'm like, wow, this is a long book. And this is the first in a series of books, so that'll be interesting too. So I'm going to try this one next. I'm going to try watching the Netflix show too, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, I hope you guys like this. I'll hope to do future book reviews in the future. And I'll see you guys all soon. Bye!